Welcome to the Glow of Paris podcast. Every city has its crossings, but Paris has bridges that double as keepers of secrets, witnesses to history, and stages for the unexpected. Today, we are standing on the Pont de l'Alma. It might look like just another elegant steel girder bridge offering a stunning view of the nearby Eiffel Tower, but this spot is a strange, beautiful convergence point. It is a monument to imperial French victories, an unofficial Parisian weather station, a symbol of Franco-American friendship, and the site of one of the most shocking tragedies of the 20th century. To understand the Pont de l'Alma, you have to peel back the layers of time, starting with an emperor who wanted to leave his mark on the stone of Paris. The story begins not in Paris, but on the banks of a river in Crimea. In September 1854, during the Crimean War, French, British, and Ottoman forces defeated the Russian army at the Battle of Alma. It was a victory that Emperor Napoleon III wanted to commemorate in stone, right in the heart of his capital. So between 1854 and 1856, a grand new bridge rose over the Seine. Three elegant arches, built from stone and masonry, in one of the most coveted stretches of Paris. And it wasn't just the architecture that made the bridge memorable. Napoleon III commissioned four monumental statues, each statue 18 feet tall, to stand sentinel on the bridge's four corners. They represented the soldiers who fought at Alma, an artilleryman, a chasseur, a grenadier, and a zouave. The zouaves were extraordinary fighters, elite infantry units originally drawn from the Berber tribes in the mountains of Algeria. Their uniforms alone made them unmistakable: short, open jackets, baggy trousers, a sash around the waist, and an Oriental-style fez. Napoleon III honored them specifically because they had distinguished themselves at Alma with almost reckless bravery. No one knew then that one of these four statues would become one of the most beloved figures in all of Paris. His name, simply the Zouave. Sculpted in 1856 by George Diebold, he stands with his rifle and his baggy trousers gazing calmly over the Seine. And now, for more than a century, Parisians have looked to him not for military glory, but for something far more urgent: to know whether to be afraid of the river. The Seine floods. It always has. And long before electronic sensors and official hydrological alerts, Parisians had a simpler system. They looked to the Zouave. Water at his feet, closed the walkways at the riverside. Water at his thighs, river navigation stops. Water at his shoulders, catastrophe. The catastrophe arrived in January 1910, still the defining flood in modern Paris history. Much of the city went underwater. The metro tunnels flooded. Electricity failed. Residents navigated the streets by rowboat, and the water rose so high it nearly reached the Zouave's neck, more than 18 feet above normal river level. That image, the soldier submerged, only his head above the tide, became one of the most iconic photographs in French history. The bridge itself was eventually replaced. By the early 1970s, the original stone arches had sagged and grown too narrow for modern traffic. The city rebuilt it entirely, a steel girder structure on a single pier. All four military statues were removed. Three of them were relocated elsewhere in France. Only the Zouave came back. He was simply too beloved to leave behind. On the right bank, just where the bridge meets the road, the traffic dips underground into a tunnel running beneath the roadway along the Seine embankment. Before 1997, the tunnel was already considered one of the most dangerous stretches in Paris, too curved with unforgiving concrete pillars flanking the roadway. On the night of August 30, 1997, Diana, Princess of Wales, left the Ritz Hotel in Paris alongside Dodi Fayed, bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones, and driver Henry Paul. They were trying to escape a pursuit of paparazzi on motorcycles. Inside the Pont de l'Alma underpass, their Mercedes crashed at high speed into a concrete pillar. Henry Paul and Dodi Fayed died at the scene. Diana was pulled from the wreckage alive, but she had suffered catastrophic internal injuries. She died at the hospital in the early hours of August 31st. The world stopped. For days, television stations ran nothing else. Something about Diana's death, its suddenness, its violence, its strange Parisian setting, broke through in a way few events do. And people began arriving at this bridge, not in London, not at Kensington Palace, but here in Paris at the mouth of this tunnel. Directly above the tunnel, on the downstream side of the bridge, at the Pont de l'Alma, stands a golden flame, a monument most visitors assume was built for Diana. It wasn't. The Flame of Liberty, La Flamme de la Liberté, is a full-scale gilded replica of the torch held by the Statue of Liberty. The Flame of Liberty was gifted to Paris in 1937 by donors associated with the International Herald Tribune newspaper as a symbol of the Franco-American friendship on the 100th anniversary of the International Herald Tribune. It had been there for a decade before Diana ever set foot in the city that final night. But after the crash, mourners found it, this golden flame glowing above the exact spot where she died. And they covered it in flowers and photographs and handwritten letters. They came back the next day, and the next day after that, and they never really stopped coming. Over the years, the Flame of Liberty has been quietly transformed by collective grief into something else entirely, an unofficial memorial that the city of Paris eventually acknowledged in 2019 when it officially renamed the nearby square Place Diana. The flame still burns. It was never meant for her, but somehow it fits. The Pont de l'Alma nighttime lighting is unlike any other in Paris. During the day, the lamps appear modern and almost ordinary, but at night they transform. Their glowing forms seem almost extraterrestrial, like strange Martian figures watching silently over the Seine. The effect is eerie, futuristic, and strangely beautiful. The Pont de l'Alma is a strange kind of place, built to celebrate a military victory that most people have forgotten, guarded by a flood-measuring soldier in baggy trousers carrying the weight of one of the most mourned deaths of the 20th century, and lit by a golden flame that was meant for something else entirely. Next time you cross it, slow down. Look at the Zouave. Look up at the flame. Think about what it takes for a bridge to become a witness. As we continue exploring the bridges of Paris, we will discover that each one, no matter how simple, carries its own story. Thank you for joining me on the Glow of Paris podcast. This is Gary Zerker saying, see you next time, and a biento.